Uh, Another week has gone by. It's Joshua Lamb here, host of Can't Silence the Lamb. Let me just turn this thing up a little bit for you now. Ooh, yeah. And yeah, another week's gone by. And I think we can all agree that when football's not happening, when there's no football, we're in the off season. It's just the slowest weeks, the slowest time. It feels like there hasn't been football in 6 to 7 years, about Salem years, right? And then you get in the season, and games are just flying by, just flying by. Like, I mean, can we hold off on the games? Stretch these bitches out a little longer? I mean, blink of an eye, we're already going into week 8. Week 8. I mean, we're getting close to the halfway point here. I don't like it. I don't like it. We're already halfway done. I mean, the boys are looking solid. Fantasy's looking sweet. We'll get a little bit more into that coming here soon. Coming here shortly. It's been a good week. A lot of stuff done. Been running around, just task after task after task, just getting things done that I need to get done. I'm somebody who gets things done. All right? And that translates to fantasy football, of course. And not only am I dipping my toes, I mean, who am I kidding? Dipping my toes. I mean, my whole body's submerged into the whole fantasy football deal. But I am now dipping my toes. It's my toes dipping. All right. Dipping my toes into fantasy basketball. It's been a whirlwind. I mean, it's the first week. Opening night was the other night. My Lakers go out there, look like shit. They go out there last night, look like shit against the Bradley Beal, Devin Booker-less Suns. All they got is Kevin Durant and a whole bunch of me's out there. Listen, I can hoop a little now. I can hoop a little something now. Don't get it twisted. I mean, I can put up a couple buckets here and there, couple boards, couple assists. I mean, maybe a steal or two, you know? But against a Lakers team who's supposed to be looking like a contender, and they're going against a team who has their top 2 of their 3 guys out, and we're down 12 going into the fourth. And we gotta put it all on LeBron's back to bring us back into the mix and get us a dub. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, this is a fantasy football podcast. I mean, I could venture out into other things. All I'm saying is fantasy basketball. It's not fantasy football. The way things are structured are completely different. Okay, and maybe we'll get into that once football starts settling down. I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to give you tidbits of my basketball situation. That's a conversation that we can have with my followers, my subscribers. So let's get into the actual mix. Let's get into football. Let's get into what you guys came here for. Football, me, especially me. The fantasy football is just a plus. It's just the cherry on top. But I know why you're really here, and that's to just be here with me. All right. So let's get into the weeks. And if you've been following along, you know 2 of my leagues are going swimmingly. All right? If I had enough space to hit the backstroke right now, I mean, I guess I could. Okay. It's swimming. It's a swimmingly time. I'm swimming all around these motherfuckers. Okay? And I love it. I can't get enough of it. It's the rush that you just can't stop getting. Once you get the rush, I mean, you better put together some squads because you don't want that rush to go away. I'm addicted to the rush. I'm addicted to the wins. I'm addicted to the dubs. Okay? So let's get into our first league. Let me start off with the 10-teamer. This is a roster I'm not super excited about. There's question marks everywhere, right? They're good question marks. Don't get me wrong. I'm projected 127 for this coming week, but it's just some guys that you want to be able to set these guys and be like, all right, they're at least getting their projected. I don't see a way, unless it's just a complete just dud of a game, they're definitely getting their projected. And there's a couple guys that are out there like Tyreek Hill. That projected's usually a lock. It just seems to be, especially this year. Like he's projected 24 points this week. I mean, that's fat. That's a fat projection. But let's look back on his last couple weeks. If he's been projected, let's say that he's been projected 24 every single week. 26, 28, 32, 31, 45. He had 2 weeks that were above or below projected. And that was a 15er and a 10er. I mean, he's double digits. The guy is double digits, and usually they're above average double digits. So it's nice to have those guys when you know that they're going to at least hit the projected. Because I know projections are bullshit, and like I think everybody knows that these projected, you can't live and die on these projections. They're nice to see when you go into a week and your projected is higher than your opponent. It feels good. It makes you feel like John Lynch out there playing GM. Just strategic pieces that are fitting together as one. And you're just feeling good. You're rolling off of wins and you're just doing your damn thing and it feels great. Right? But projections, sometimes they set you up for disappointment. Because I've been projected fat racks, 130 plus, 140 plus, 140. We'll talk about 140. I mean, that's Josh, that's so high. To be projected 140, that's so high. I know it is. But the GM that I am, we'll get there. I don't want to get too far into this. We'll get there. But looking at some of my guys, Ramondre Stevenson, iffy. It depends on the game script. It depends on if he's getting dump offs. It depends on how Ezekiel Elliott's like being factored into the game. Chris Olave. Does Derek Carr suck that game? If he does, Chris Olave might suck. Is Alvin Kamara taking all the touches? Is he taking all the receptions? Garrett Wilson. Is Zach Wilson gonna suck? Are they gonna score a touchdown? Like, it's frustrating to see that there's potential of these guys not hitting the projected purely based off of outside sources. And it's not because they're not good players, but it comes down to how their team is constructed and how the game script's gonna go about. And a lot of the time has to do with game plan as well as other players and what they're able to do. And a lot of it comes back to quarterback play. So Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, two guys that I like. They're talented as all hell, but their quarterbacks make them a question mark. They're only projected 14.5 and 15, and I'm still a little worried. Like, are you going to hit that? They're both only averaging 13.2 and 13.5. So we're 7 weeks in. You're averaging less than a 14.5 projection. That doesn't make me feel good. That this projection's that's not even that high. It's not even that high of a projection. You can put me out there if you really wanted to. If the game plan was to get Jay Lamb, The Rock, guaranteed. If you're peppering me with targets throughout the game, if you're giving me a minimum 10 targets, that's all I ask. I'm getting you 14 points. 9 catches. Boy got them stickums now. 9 catches. Let's say, I'll be bashful. 50 yards. I'm getting you 14 points. These guys are seasoned vets. They're professionals making millions a year. And I'm worried about them as their wide receiver ones on professional football teams. I'm worried about them getting 14 points. It's frustrating. It's frustrating rolling out these guys as my wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to get. And it all comes back to outside sources. I guess inside sources because it's their team, and I guess that's something that I should have looked at. But Derek Carr was a clear upgrade. Garrett Wilson was supposed to have Aaron Rodgers, and I ended up getting fucked. Derek Carr's been terrible. Everybody knows what happened with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just stuck with these jumps. That's the name of the game, though. That's what you do. That's what you deal with when you're the GM of a fucking squad, right? So enough about my roster. Let's go back to my actual matchup from this week, where I was playing one of my closest friends in this world, Luke McDermott. I call him Lucas. He doesn't like it. because actually his name, usually a guy named Luke, his birth name is Lucas. Like the birth certificate says Lucas. That's his actual name, right? His actual name is Luke, but I refuse to believe it. That's what he tells me. I call him Lucas. He hates it, but I will continue to do so. So looking at this past week, has a pretty solid squad, has some guys that I deal with on my other leagues, so it's always a little iffy. When I say a couple guys, really just Austin Eckler and maybe a guy or two on the bench. No, actually, we have pretty dang separate teams, which is kind of crazy. But Austin Eckler is a key piece in my other league, so it's not always ideal to see his star running back be the same star running back that I also have. It's a dance. It's a dance. You want him to pop off, and you don't want to pop off. It's a weird thing that you got to deal with every week. So, Josh Allen, Austin Eckler, Isaiah Pacheco, who's been great. Got to give it to him. I gave him a little shit on the Isaiah Pacheco, because him being a running back too in that offense where McKinnon was involved, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was involved. Pacheco was clearly the better back, but just the way they were utilizing him last year, you couldn't really tell who was going to get the hot hand. So I was giving him a little shit about that. He's panned out. Guy's been good. I mean, he's averaging 15 points a game. Take it all day out of the running back 2 spot. Jalen Waddle as the wide receiver 1. He has Zay Flowers. I had Zay Flowers. I drafted him. I dropped him before the first game even start because I don't know who I ended up picking up. Probably didn't end up panning out as well as Zay Flowers has been. Zay Flowers has been solid. I mean, he's averaging 13 points a game. Guy's been putting up some decent numbers. He picked him up after I dropped him. A blunder on my end. What are you gonna do? Kyle Pitts, Chris Godwin, Bills D, Dameon Pierce on the bench, Jerry Jeudy, Jared Goff, Zay Jones, Ferguson, Rashid Rice, Wan'Dale Robinson, and he has Kyren Williams on the IR spot. Tough loss for my boy Lucas. So he has good running backs. Eckler, Williams. He picked up Williams off of the waivers. Isaiah Pacheco would probably go in the flex spot when Williams comes back. Wide receivers a little iffy for my boy. He's a little iffy for my boy. These wide receivers now. All right, and then you look at my roster. Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going to tell you who I started. Ramondre Stevenson, Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, TJ Hawkinson. I had to go Cortland Sutton because Garrett Wilson was on bye. I was feeling pretty decent, right? And then the week starts. Listen, I've had an issue with quarterback play in this league. And I think it's safe to say that if you don't have consistent quarterback play, you're going to have some up and down weeks. There's going to be weeks that you're laying up duds, and there's going to be weeks that you pop off, right? And usually the weeks you pop off are the weeks that your quarterback, I'm not going to say usually, but there's times if you pop off, there's a solid chance that your quarterback maybe had a rushing touchdown. Maybe he had 3 passing touchdowns. Maybe he had 60 yards on the ground off a big run up the gut. A little quarterback drop. And that's why I picked up Deshaun Watson, because I thought I was going to be able to get that. He's been terrible. And it's the eye test. It's not just fantasy. It's also the eye test. The eye test, he looks terrible, right? And don't get me wrong, the first 3 games of the year, he put up some decent numbers. 21. He put up the little 11.5 stinker. 21.16 for the third game. And then he gets hurt. He misses week 4, bye week in 5, misses the game against San Fran, and they decide to roll him out against Indianapolis in week 7. This was a 1:00 game. This was a big start to my week, right? Game starts off, immediately throws a pick. Immediately. I mean, I don't know what drive it was, but immediately threw a pick, and I'm like, your boy's down early. All right, so that happens. While that happens, I got my other running back, and I haven't told you who it was, but I had my other running back starting off his game. That other running back was Deontay Foreman. I started him last week, and he gave me shit. I started him this week, and he gave me gold, baby. gave me gold. 3 motherfucking tutties for 33 points. So while Deshaun Watson is laying a fucking stinker, right? I had D'Onta Foreman just throwing him on Deshaun Watson right on his back. D'Onta Foreman is just tossing Watson on his back like a damn sack of potatoes and just carrying me to the damn promised land, right? Just toting that rock. Gives me 33. While Deshaun Watson ends up getting hurt, gets evaluated, no concussion, shoulder was supposed to be fine. Motherfucker threw for 5 yards. 5 yards and a pick and got me negative 1.8 points. And you're probably thinking, Josh, you can't have a quarterback going for negative 1.8 and expect to win the week. Listen, I thought the same. I thought there's no way in hell that I'm pulling this bitch out. Next thing you know, Josh Allen was kind of laying a stinker against the Patriots. I fucking turn around for 2 seconds, maybe go grab some lunch or something. What did I have? I think I had some Italian meatball sausage, the whole night. I'm feeling good. Come back, 2 touchdowns, 24.5 points. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? And let's not mention that Deshaun Watson throws up a duck right, like literally when he gets hurt. The play he gets hurt, throws up a duck, looked like an easy pick. It ended up hitting the ground, and it didn't end up panning out, which was fine. But if it did pan out, it should have been a pick. He would have gotten me negative 3.8. I mean, what are we doing? Deshaun, you look terrible. Let's tighten it up. He's not playing this week either. What the hell are we doing, right? So, Josh Allen goes out there and balls. Austin Eckler goes out there, stinks, 5.6. Isaiah Pacheco goes out there, gives him 16. Jalen Waddle, who's a little dinged up, only gets him 12.3. Jalen Waddle hasn't been Jalen Waddle, man. He just hasn't looked that good. I've been saying this for a while now. I said it last year. I had the conversation with Bobby Armando because he's a big Miami Dolphins fan, right? And I said to him, Waddle, he's a good player. I don't want him as my wide receiver 1. I'm not talking about real football here. I'm talking about in fantasy. I do not want him as my wide receiver 1. He's not a wide receiver 1 in real football either. He's the wide receiver 2 behind my boy Tyreek. But Jalen Waddle, I said this last year, he is too big play dependent to be a consistent. I mean, last year he was balling. Don't get it twisted. But he had those massive chunk plays that ended up racking up points. He's averaging 13 points this year. He's only surpassed double-digit targets 1 time. He has 2 touchdowns. In those 2 games that he had touchdowns, he only had 50 yards and 35 yards. Had 14.5 and 18.1. So let's take away those touchdowns. If he didn't score those 2 touchdowns, bro, we're talking a whole nother ballgame. This guy would have been averaging, barely double digits now. Barely double digits. We're talking that would have knocked his points down to 8.5 and a little 12-point-1er. All I'm saying is he's not getting those big plays, those massive plays that were making him so valuable last year. And this is my boy Luke's wide receiver 1. And I told him, I was like, I don't like Waddle wide receiver 1 now. I don't like it, right? And I think he's a talented guy. He just needs to be a little bit more consistent with his receptions and maybe throwing a big play here and there, like his counterpart, old Tyreek Hill. All right. So Zay Flowers, 4 catches, 75 yards, 11.5, had a big play for him, which ended up giving him a chunk of those points. Kyle Pitts, Buns, 7.7, which is respectful for a tight end, but Kyle Pitts is supposed to be that guy, whatever. Chris Godwin, 6 catches, 66 yards, 12.6 points. For a whopping total of 95 points. And I've been saying this. You give me an opponent that doesn't crack 100, I'm taking that dub 9 times out of 10. You hear me? You better hear me. All right? That's why you're here, is to hear me. So listen to me clearly. If I put up less than 100, I expect to lose. My opponent should also do. So they should also think that, or do so, or something. 95 points for my boy Luke. After my quarterback puts up negative 1.8 points, I was like, I have a shot here. Especially when D'Onta Foreman starts snapping for me, puts up 33 points. Ramondre Stevenson had a couple good catches. 6 catches, 51 yards, 34 on the ground. Gives me 14.5. I can take that. Is it RB1 numbers? Not necessarily. But D'Onta Foreman coming back and just giving me what I need, giving me 33. Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 88 yards, and a tutty, 26. Chris Olave. I mean, bro, Chris Olave's been a whirlwind. He played in that Thursday night game, I believe, where he had 15 targets. He had 15 targets. Oh, what am I talking about? We talked about this last week because I filmed this on Friday, just like I'm doing right now, and I talked about this. 15 targets only gets me 12.7. TJ Hawkinson goes out there Monday night, 11 catches, 86 yards. And this is why I have so much stock in the guy. At this point, he's second in tight end points, average about 14 points a game. Justin Jefferson's out. He's getting more targets. He looks good. Don't get me wrong. He only averaged what? About 8 yards a catch. That's fine. That's why PPR is, for me, I'm rocking with it. You know what I mean? So, gets me 19.6. Guy was peppering him with targets. They end up getting the dub, which was even better. And then I put Courtland Sutton in because I had Garrett Wilson on the pine for the bye week. So looking at what he does, goes out there, gets me 6 catches, 76 yards, and a tud. I couldn't ask for more. Courtland Sutton, if you're going to come in here, and don't get me wrong, he's been solid, 13.2 points. He's averaging the same as my damn Garrett Wilson pickup or Chris Olave pickup, one of the two. I think Garrett Wilson's averaging the 13.5. Yeah, he's averaging the same as Chris Olave, who's supposed to be my star. He was supposed to be a legitimate wide receiver 10 or top 10 wide receiver this year. And I have Courtland Sutton averaging the same amount. Courtland Sutton's been good, like I said. But he's not supposed to be averaging the same amount as a guy who could potentially be a top 10 receiver in this league. Especially with Derek Carr under center. That was the talk of the town. It's frustrating, right? Courtland Sutton comes in there and gives me what I need in a moment of desperation and bye weeks, right? So, go down to the Saints defense, go against the Jags, didn't have a great game. 2 fumble recoveries that ended up getting me some actual points. Only gets me 4 points. That's fine. Whatever. I wasn't going to drop them. They've been good this year. I mean, they're 4th in the league for defenses. But where I really put down the hammer on my boy Luke was the kicker. My boy, Dustin Hopkins. Whoo, mama. Goes out there and puts up 22 jabronis. 22 jabronis, right? 4 field goals, 3 extra points, 22 points for me to end up with a whopping 149.5 smackaroos. And let's just think, if Deshaun Watson can go out there and suck, I mean, I'm topping off at about 175. You know what I mean? So, he could have got me no points. I would have cracked 150. I mean, I would love to crack 150. And then on the bench, I picked up Darrell Henderson in all my leagues. Goes out there and gets me about 14. Javonte Williams is looking pretty good. Had 82 yards on the ground. He had 3 catches. He got me, what do we got? Got me 12.5. That's fine. Jeff Wilson goes out there, gets me 1.4 on the bench. But we know about my trade. I got Breece Hall coming off the pine for this week, and he's projected almost close to 16. I'm projected 127 in this league. I'm going to be going against my boy Adam, who has a solid squad. He has some guys that I traded to him. Alexander Madison, Zach Moss, Sam Laporta. I mean, he has half of his squad is guys that I traded him, right? On the other hand, only guys that I have on my squad from him was Javonte Williams and like I said, Breece Hall, who I think is going to be real good for the boy. Who did I trade? Oh, no, I didn't trade Zach Moss. I dropped Zach Moss. He picked him up. That's right. Because of the whole situation that was going on with Jonathan Taylor, which I'm still okay with dropping him. It's all right. I mean, I like my bench. Courtland Sutton, Nico Collins, Javonte Williams, D'Onta Foreman, Tajay Spears. I'm telling you, if Derrick Henry gets traded, Tajay Spears is going to be immediate RB2 contention all day with upside. The guy catches passes. He runs hard. He was rocking over at Tulane, running against my Golden Knights. UCF, baby. My gang, right? And Tyjae Spears was running all over him. So I knew this guy was special. Comes in here, and he's been valuable for Tennessee. And on top of that, they're going to be rocking with no Ryan Tannehill. Hopefully you're going with a younger quarterback who doesn't have a ton of experience that's going to be wanting to dump off passes to my boy Tyjae Spears. He's already been taking carries. He's already been taking workload. Snap count is what I'm hearing has been even between the two. Just picked up Zach Charbonnet in my 2 leagues also. Well, 2 of my leagues because I'm hearing about Kenneth Walker. This is my situation though. I ended up picking up Dak Prescott because Watson was terrible. I need consistent play, and like Dak Prescott hasn't been great either. Don't get me wrong. Oh, Kyler Murray. Okay, so he's listed as doubtful. That's okay. That's fine. Because that's exactly what I was about to get after. I got Kyler Murray sitting in the IR spot. Listen, I'm not going to say that that's like a game changer. Could it be a game changer? Sure. It could be a game changer. Could he come off of the IR and get back to his Kyler Murray ways of just scurrying around the pocket and going and picking up a chunk yard about 23 or 25? Yeah, I'm sure he can. The guy's coming off an ACL injury. Don't feel super, super great about it. But, like I said, my quarterback situation's been shit. Deshaun Watson's been shit. I got Dak Prescott in the starting of the helms, holding down the fort. If Kyler Murray can come back and average top 10 performances every week for your boy, we could have something here. We could have something. So what I'm getting at is, if Kyler Murray comes back, Derrick Henry gets traded, I'm liking what the squad would be looking like. I mean, let's think about it. Kyler Murray, Tyjae Spears, Breece Hall. I like the start of that, right? Like, those are looking like guys that could get me some real good, consistent points, especially those running backs. Tyreek Hill, best fantasy guy in the league right now. Chris Olave, I still think he has top 20 potential with top 10 upside depending on the week. TJ Hawkinson, top 3 tight end. Garrett Wilson. If Zach Wilson continues to grow, he's been better, we might have a little something. I mean, I have the best wide receiver, the second best tight end. I have top 20 running backs. If I can just get a little bit more production, we might have a little something here. All right. Let's move on to the next league. Let's get into my 12 team. The team that's my pride and joy. The team that I wake up in the morning thinking about. Like, who put this team together? Because it is downright disgusting. Okay? Let's get after this past week, right? And I'll say it once, I'll say it again. If my opponent doesn't score 100 points, I expect to win the week. 9 out of 10 times, I'm telling you, I'm going to squeeze out a dub now. So, Tua, Justice Hill. He had a rollout there with Justice Hill and Jerick McKinnon. I saw that. Michael Thomas was the damn wide receiver too, even though I had Jacoby Myers. He had no Mixon. He had no Pierce. James Conner's on IR. I mean, he's rolling out there with Justice Hill and Jerick McKinnon as his RB1 and RB2. Tyreek Hill balls for him. Michael Thomas actually catches a touchdown, which ends up saving his week for 13 points. Logan Thomas has a pretty good week, 9.1. Jacoby Myers has a touchdown, saves his week in the last, literally the last drive of the game. Goes out there and puts up 96 points. And you know where this is going. Josh, you won, didn't you? Because I'll say it, and I'll keep on saying it. I'm scoring more than 100, 9 out of 10 times, and I'm getting the fucking dub. Right? So my team goes out there, and I'll list them. Patty Mahomes, 34 points. Jonathan Taylor, looked like Jonathan Taylor, goes out there, puts up 21. Alvin Kamara, you already heard it last week. 12 catches for 29 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown started off so slow. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 0 points at the half. Next thing you know, Jared Goff's like, let's just go to the best player on this team and pepper this boy with targets. 13 catches, 102 yards, gets me 23 points. Puka Nacua keeps on doing Puka Nacua things and gets me 8 catches, 154 yards, 23 points, 0.4. TJ Hawkinson, 11 catches, 86 yards. Christian Kirk, 6 catches, 90 yards, and a tutty. For a whopping 176 points. This team is a buzzsaw. Word to my boy KY Jelly. Those motherfuckers are coming for the chip. This is a buzzsaw of a squad. I'm telling you right now. It's a buzzsaw. You don't want to run into this team right now. And let's just go over the bench. Let's go over the bench. I didn't even start the number one running back of the week. I had Deontay Foreman on my bench with 33. If I threw him in the Christian Kirk slot, give me extra 14-pointeroos. I mean, bro, we're talking 190 here, baby boy. Or baby girl, who's ever out there. Listening, loving me, doing the damn thing with me. I mean, I got the Bruceys on the tee. This is golf, baby. I mean, we got Bruce, we got football, we got golf, we got me. What more do you need? I'm not talking golf. I could, though, if you need me to. And then I also had Darrell Henderson on this bench. And let's not forget who I have in the damn IR spot. And that's Justin J. That's motherfucking Justin J, baby. Don't play with me now. Don't play with me, because the boy's looking crazy. For next week, I am projected. Tell me. I am projected 144 points this coming week. This is without Justin Jefferson. There's no Justin Jefferson in this lineup, and I projected 144 points. If I were to have Justin Jefferson in this lineup right now, say I would have to take up Puka Nacua. Going off projections, I would have to take up Puka Nacua because he's projected 17.2. Amon-Ra 17.6. Jamar Chase, 22. Welcome to the squad, Jamar. First week with the boy. I need big things. Big things. Let's say Justin Jefferson comes in, takes Puka Nacua's spot. Justin Jefferson is usually projected 22, 23, 24 points. So let's tack on another fiver. I mean, there's a small chance. It's a chance. There's a small chance, but there's a chance that I'm projected 150 with Justin Jefferson in this fucking roster, this lineup. I mean, what are we doing? Let's just go over what it could be. Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua on the pine. What are we doing? What the hell are we doing? You can't contest with this squad. This thing is it's a buzzsaw that's coming for the chip. I wake up thinking about this league, and I love it, right? So we're coming up on about 33 minutes now, and I have been wanting to kind of cut down on these a little bit. I don't want them to be too long. They're too hefty. They're too long. I say that, but I could go on a damn tangent on this last league because it's been horseshit, right? I said it this past week. Ooh, Tyreek Hill, hips good to go. Love to hear it. Need that boy for a chip. Said it this past week. I felt good going against. What do we have here? I felt good going against this guy. This is the league that I was 2-4 in. 2-4. Needed to win. I was projected big numbers. He had to start Jahmyr Gibbs because he didn't have David Montgomery, but he was out. Didn't have Kyron Williams. Didn't have Joe Mixon. Justin Jefferson is on his IR spot. Justin Fields was out. He had to start Jahmyr Gibbs, who hasn't been great lately because of David Montgomery. He had to start Kareem Hunt. He had to start Kendrick Bourne. Of course, Jacoby Myers has been good. Bro, Mayfield has a decent game with 16. Jahmyr Gibbs pops off with 20-8. Kareem Hunt has 2 touchdowns. Puka Nacua balls. Kendrick Bourne has a touchdown. Gerald Everett has a touchdown. 3 catches, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Jacoby Myers has a touchdown. Bro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of his 6 guys that aren't quarterbacks that are skill players had touchdowns. Bro, when I needed a dub the most, his scrubs balled out. Kareem Hunt, 2 touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne, a touchdown. Gerald Everett, a touchdown. Jacoby Myers, a touchdown. And on the last drive of the game, he gets a touchdown. Next thing, bro, they've scored so many points on my fucking team this year in this league. 142 points. What am I supposed to do, bro? If I don't have a fucking banger of a week, I put up 120. Let's just get down to it. I put up 121 in this league, and I took another fucking L because I got popped off on again, bro. I don't know what else to say. I'm 2-5 in the league, and I'm just trying to scrape by. And on top of all that, this is a 12-team league. Only 4 guys make it to the playoffs. I'm toast. I mean, let's go to the league. Let's see what the projections are, and see if I even have a chance to make. I have a 12% chance of making the playoffs. I need to read off a couple points against in my leagues. In this league, first place team has 734 points scored against. Second place, 766. Third place, 732. These are all guys that are actually tied for first. Another guy that's tied for first, 844 points scored against. 798, 754, 754, 814, 759, 845, 784. Josh, this is what you're asking. Josh, how many points have been scored against you? I've said it once, and I'll keep reiterating it. I have been screwed from the jump in this league. You hear all these different points against. Most of them are in the 700s. I've had 1,025 points scored against me in this league. Let me say it one more time. Everybody in my league. Okay. Everybody in my league has like 700 points scored against them in their respected standings. Everyone in my league has like 700 points scored against them in the season, right? I go out there and I have 1,025 points scored on me. Bro, I have scored more points than... This is a 12-team league. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have scored more points than 9 teams in this league. I have the third most points scored in this league, and I'm 2-5 with a 12% chance of making the playoffs. Because I have 300 more points scored against me in this league. What are we doing, boys? How have I gotten the luck that I've received in this league? Is it because my other 2 teams are so damn good? Is this the fantasy gods telling me, you better simmer out? You better chill out now. Gotta bring you back to earth. You're too good. When your team is projected to score 135 points and you're 2-5, Justin Herbert, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, TJ Hockenson, Chris Olave. This is with Deebo Samuel on the IR, Josh Palmer, Jared Goff, Darrell Henderson, Jalen Warren, Deontay Johnson, Alexander Madison. What more can I do? It is infuriating stuff. It's infuriating. And I don't know if there's even like a path for me to make it to the playoffs, which is, it's sad. It's sad. I mean, granted, this is the least amount of money of a pot that we have of my 3 leagues. So if I'm going to lose one, this is the one that I would rather lose. You know what I mean? So that's fine. And on top of that, I don't know any of these dudes in this league other than my boy Trey. So I ain't really playing for pride either. I mean, of course I'm playing for pride, but I ain't playing for I ain't playing for no bragging rights. I don't know these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a big deal. It's just frustrating when you put together a squad such as this. You're putting up good points, and just the luck's put against you. You know, you're getting the worst luck you've ever seen. And that's what we're dealing with. And fantasy's been good. I'm 5-2 in one league. I'm 5-2 in the other league. I'm 2-5 in the third league. So let's go over the math. I'm 10-4 in the leagues that really matter. This one would have mattered if I would have won some games. So overall, I don't want to factor in this motherfucker because it makes the record look kind of iffy. I mean, it ends up being 12-7. Don't love that. So let's talk about the leagues that really matter. You know what I mean? So yeah, went 2-1 on the weeks. 2-1 on the weeks. I got some good matchups. I got a projected that's through the roof. Nobody wants to see my 12-team league. Nobody wants to see it. Everybody knows that they're coming for the chip, and I'm happy about it. But that's pretty much all I got for you this week. Other than fantasy basketball, which going through the first week, like I said, team's looking pretty solid. If we wanted to just run through it real quick, I'll tell you what it is. Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was my number 1 pick. Had to do it. I was the 6th pick. After the first 5 guys, don't get me wrong, Shai's a star, but you're missing out on those guys that are like the faces of the league. Joel Embiid, Luka, fucking, of course, the Joker. I end up getting my draft strategy was to get guys that are going to be putting up all types of numbers, because it's not just points. You got to go assists, you got to go boards, you got to go double-doubles, you got to go field goal percentage, free throws, all that shit. There's like 9 different categories. Lauri Markkanen, double-double guy. Domantas Sabonis could be a triple-double guy. Evan Mobley, double-double guy. Tyler Hero puts up big points. Scotty Barnes puts up all those numbers. Alperen Sengun is going to be my sleeper guy who's going to ball for me. Anthony Simons, he's a stud. Keldon Johnson's a stud. I got Tyus Jones, D'Angelo Russell, and James Harden on the pine right now. When James Harden comes back and he's averaging a double-double for your boy, we'll be happy. Don't want to get too far into that. But that's pretty much all I got for you this week. I'm looking forward to this week with the 2 teams that I actually care about at this point. I'll keep you updated on the 1, 2, and 5 league because it's bullshit and I should be cooking these dudes. But I'm excited for the 2 leagues that are actually performing. So I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times, and I'll say that once, and I'll say it a million times about me saying it a million times. This is Josh Lamb, Can't Silence the Lamb. And it's not your fantasy football, it's not your grandma's fantasy football podcast now. You gotta understand. But I love each and every one of you, whoever's watching out there. Hope you guys are having a great week. Enjoy your Halloween. Be safe out there. I know these little shorties out there like to get a little crazy with their outfits now. So my brothers, be chill now. You know what I mean? You don't want to get caught up with some little shorty that ends up being crazy down the road just because she looked good on Halloween. You know what I mean? I've had too many buddies that fall in love on Halloween. They're stuck with this chick for the next year and she's nuts. You just don't want to do it. Halloween gives you them Halloween goggles where every single chick out there looks delicious. Babe, I'm talking about you. You look delicious. None of these other chicks, I'm talking about for my buddies. They look delicious for my buddies. For me, they look terrible. But that's just how it goes. So be safe on Halloween. Make sure you guys are getting Ubers, DDs. Don't be drinking and driving. Have a great time. Be safe. Enjoy time with your family. Love each and every one of you. And we'll talk next week.